Recently, all the free agency and trade talk has been about acquiring players from outside of the Calgary Flames organization. However, there's still some work to do internally for Calgary Flames general manager Craig Conroy regarding 4 pending free agents on whether to re-sign them or to let them walk. And there's no denying that depending on what Craig Conroy does decide to do, this will be huge for the Flames' future and through this retooling. Welcome to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe because only right around 25% of the people watching are subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames, then make sure you join the fastest growing community of Flames fans on the internet. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. But without further ado, let's take a look at who is likely to re-sign. And as I mentioned before, there are 4 pending UFAs that will, of course, hit in July. And while none of them are huge names, Craig Conroy did the nitty-gritty business he needed to do in trading away the big ones for future assets that the Flames really did need. There still are 4, and especially, of course, 1 that Flames fans care about a lot. Now, let's get into this article here from Rupert McDonald of the Hockey Writers. All credit for pretty much all the content in this video goes to him. So, Flames free agents, who stays and who goes. After many years of perpetual mediocrity, my goodness, that is just words we do not like to hear around here because we're too comfortable with it. The Calgary Flames seem to finally have a plan set out in front of them. Since being promoted to general manager last year, Craig Conroy has made it clear that the Flames are in a retooling stage. He backed that up by trading 4 pending free agents throughout the 2023-24 season in Nikita Zadorov, Elias Lindholm, Chris Tanev, and Noah Hanifin. Not to mention, he also traded away Tyler Toffoli before last season began, which was really good. We got Sharangovich back. Really good business there. But he didn't trade away every single free agent. In fact, he kind of picked one up at the deadline, a pending UFA anyway for this year. But there still are a few to look at. And let's start with the big one here. So likely brought back Oliver Kylington. Chili, Ollie, whatever you like to call him. We absolutely adore the man here in Calgary. And not only is he likely to be brought back, but I think it just makes sense that it's a feel-good story. We love him here. He loves it here. In a season which featured several lows for the Flames, perhaps the highest moment came when Oliver Kylington was able to make his return to the lineup in late January. And how about it when he scored his first goal back? That was a huge moment in front of the Saddledome crowd. The 27-year-old hadn't played since the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs as he chose to take an extended leave of absence due to mental health reasons. We all remember it well. Given the amount of time he was away from the game, Kylington looked quite solid upon his return. He wasn't given a ton of minutes, but was relatively solid on the third pairing and showed that his skating continues to remain elite as ever. He implied in his end-of-season media availability that he hopes to be back and re-signing him shouldn't cost the Flames a ton of money. It would be pretty surprising to see the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy finalists wind up anywhere but Calgary next season. And it honestly does make sense. Not only is it a feel-good story to bring him back again, he loves it here. We absolutely adore him as fans and support him. The organization supports him. It also makes sense because the Flames have quite a few defensemen within the pool, I guess we can say, in the prospect pool within the organization. Not too many at the NHL level, though. So bringing in Kylington, it just makes sense. It's an NHL caliber defenseman. He has great skating, like the article says there. And why not? Why not bring him back? It won't cost the Flames much at all. It makes sense to bring him back. Absolutely bring back Shilly. We would love to welcome him back to the Saddledome next season. Now let's move on here to AJ Greer. Bit more of an interesting one here, whether as to re-sign him or not. But here's what the article has to say. Not much was made of the Flames' decision to claim AJ Greer off of waivers from the Boston Bruins in early October, but the 27-year-old proved to be a solid addition to their fourth line for the majority of the season. While his 6 goals and 12 points in 59 games sum up his offensive abilities, his physicality proved to be beneficial for the Flames. Greer's season was derailed when he suffered an ugly foot injury in late January. We all remember how that was against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It sucked to see him go down, but it did give opportunities to some younger guys. But either way, which sidelined him for roughly 8 weeks. He wasn't as much of an impact upon his return to the lineup, though it's never easy to miss that much time. The Flames will need to fill out their roster with some inexpensive deals for the 2024-25 season, making it likely that he gets brought back on a cheap contract. I completely agree here, and I don't think the term will be all that long either. You know, AJ Greer, he's kind of one of those at this point in his career, unfortunately. I really like AJ Greer, but unfortunately, he's almost at that point of being a fringe NHLer. So he's definitely can be on the fourth line, can, you know, do those kind of grinding minutes that every fourth line needs. And especially with the Flames most likely not pushing for the playoffs next season and nowhere near being contenders, why not bring him back? It's another absolute NHL caliber player that can fit in. Of course, when he was absent last season, it did give some other guys the opportunity to come play. Some of the younger guys we saw, you know, Cole Schwindt come up a little bit. We saw Adam Klapka late in the season, and you know, obviously guys like Pelche, Coronado, a spot for them in the lineup, of course. But AJ Greer, why not? You know, why not bring him back? It makes sense. The term doesn't have to be all that long. I know he probably wants a longer term contract, at most 3 years for AJ Greer, and I mean, it won't cost more than what, $2 million per season. I wish I was making $2 million per season. I shouldn't say that like it's a bad thing, but either way, it'll be cheap and probably not too long. So why not bring back Greer? I agree with that one as well. Now this one's interesting. This is still in the likely to be brought back or likely to re-sign category. Nikita Okhotiuk. The Flames' final move of the trade deadline was a bit of a surprising one as they sent a 2024 fifth-round pick to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for defenseman Nikita Okhotiuk. The 23-year-old struggled on a weak Sharks roster prior to the trade, having a plus-minus of -22 in 43 games, despite averaging less than 17 minutes in ice time. So, you know, didn't exactly wow people when he was acquired. He didn't have amazing stats on the San Jose Sharks. Not that many people did, to be quite fair. But even his time in Calgary wasn't all that great. Let's see what the article says. While the Flames were by no means a good team in this season, they were significantly better than the Sharks, which seemed to help Okhotiuk out. That being said, he didn't seem to make much of a positive impression on Ryan Huska and the rest of the coaching staff as he suited up for just 9 games with the Flames while averaging just 13 minutes and 21 seconds in ice time. Despite that, his young age and the fact that he is a restricted free agent bodes well for him being re-signed in the hopes that he can take the next step this coming season. Now, I don't know if I fully agree with this. You know, Okhotiuk, it would be bringing in a somewhat NHL caliber defenseman, just like re-signing Shillington makes sense. But I would much rather give opportunities to maybe some younger guys to come in than Okhotiuk, because I gotta be honest, he's really not all that great. You know, I don't want to hate on anybody or, you know, make them seem like they're not great players, but he just really didn't seem to fit in all that well. More of a liability on the ice, as harsh as that is to say. I'd rather see, you know, Brustevich come up if he's ready, you know, maybe some of the other defensemen in the pool, but even I'd rather have, you know, Miramanov, Joel Hanley is still in the organization rather than Okhotiuk. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be too upset if the Flames do not re-sign him. I know he's young and maybe he just needs the right opportunity. And usually I try to be quite optimistic, but I wouldn't be too upset if he's no longer a Flame next season. If he is, great. We'll give him another chance. If not, c'est la vie. All right, let's move on to unlikely to re-sign. There's only one more. There are only 4 free agents in the organization right now. And the last one, it's so similar to the Okhotiuk situation. It's really take it or leave it, but let's see what the article says here. Oh, I hit the wrong button. That was a spoiler for comment of the day. Here it is. Dennis Gilbert, considering most expected him to be a full-time American Hockey League player when the Flames signed him to a 2-year deal in 2022, he did impress. The 27-year-old wound up playing a combined 57 games in his 2 seasons with the Flames and was most reliable third-pairing defender when inserted into the lineup. Working against Gilbert is the fact that the Flames already have several NHL defensemen signed to contracts for next season and could have even more should they bring back Okhotiuk and Shillington. They'll also have some prospects pushing for a spot in Solovyov and Jeremy Poirier, which doesn't leave much room. Gilbert may need to look elsewhere if he hopes to continue seeing NHL action next season. So this one again, you know, he's really only expected to be an AHL player. He had some pretty reliable minutes for the Flames when he came up. Not like he wowed in any way and showed that he'd ever be on kind of a contender. But if he wants to play some NHL minutes, I'm sure a team will pick him up. And why not give him that opportunity? I think it would be fine if he walks, tries to get a good NHL contract, and can play for an NHL team. If not, I'm happy to keep him so he can hop into the lineup whenever he wants or can play down in the AHL. I like Dennis Gilbert. I mean, who doesn't like him and his family and his smile? He's a great guy. But once again, just like a coach, wouldn't be all that upset if he does decide to walk. This one more so just so that he can get a good NHL contract somewhere else. But either way, I'd love to keep him in the organization, at least on the Wranglers kind of thing, and maybe insert him when needed, whether it's injuries or major chemistry problems or something, bring him up. But if not, I'm also okay with him not re-signing. Now let's get into what I spoiled before with the comment of the day to wrap up this video, and it goes with yesterday's video about potentially signing Marty Necas. I know things are crazy in the Hurricanes organization right now, but Necas being linked to the Flames is, it's going to happen. And I like this comment here. We have plenty of middle six centers. We need a mighty C1 to build a dynasty, and Necas ain't him. That comes from user Connell Knutson. I completely agree here. We have so many middle six centers, and not only just middle six centers, but we have so many fringe centers. We have so many almost centers. They can play center, but would they be better on the wing? We have so many of those guys like Sharangovich. We've talked about that with Pospisil and Zary, and even Huberdeau, has been called the center at some point. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one there. But either way, we don't need another guy who clearly excels at the wing and isn't a center, because Backlund's getting old, Kadri's getting old. We need actual centers. Every successful team has actual centers, especially a C1 like this comment says, and that is what we need to approach. Maybe it's not in the Flames' best interest to go for Marty Necas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.